Good evening, and in case you're in a different time zone, so good morning. I'm Meera. So what in the payroll itself, I will be starting first with an HCM overview. This is basically this is a session designed for everybody who has handled and who has not handled payroll. So as we know, I am going ahead now with the HCM overview, meaning how the human capital management is overviewed, meaning a small session on the overview of the. It is just to the benefit of the participants who have not seen Fusion or who have not taken the global core HR training. So HCM comes with a lot of modules, as you know. So you have compensation, you have workforce development, workforce deployment, you have benefits, you a lot of business areas that we have classified. So in Fusion, we have something called as workforce deployment, development, benefits and compensations, so on and so forth. So workforce deployment is nothing but your core HR, global payroll, how you manage your work cycle, work life cycles, and workforce predictions, what is everything, what is the workforce going to do in the organization, all their life cycle from hire to retire cycle, etc. When it comes to workforce development, it is how the employee is developing himself or herself inside the organization, meaning we monitor the growth of the employee or their performance, and what is that we want as an organization. For us as an organization, what do we need the employee to do for himself or herself to grow inside the organization's ladder, or maybe lateral as well, and we review them. Say for example, I have a performance management. I give them goals. I assess them, and then I review their whatever they have done in the period, and then that it doesn't end there. You even have trainings in case I need, or we assess them. Post that, we have a process which is followed internally by every organization. With respect to benefits and compensation, benefits are your insurance plans, medical plans, anything to do with health plans. So that is your benefit management. And compensation management will cover all your incentives, perks, etc., etc. And in business processes, you have something called as fast formulas. I think since you come from the EBIS background, you will know what a fast formula is. And profile management, I will just give you a brief on whenever time comes. I will meaning through the training, I will take you through what is required and where it is all being incorporated, or where you need to configure, etc., etc. So business process, I said workforce deployment, global resources, payroll, interfaces, predictions, etc., etc. When it comes, like say now we have a question, now we have the cloud. So we have something called as SaaS, that is software as service. We have a public cloud, we have a private cloud, and more the current the instance that we'll see will be on the public cloud. We have on-premise and hosted. On-premise will be on the managed by the client themselves. Hosted will be hosted by a cloud. So any organization, meaning any payroll process or any business processes inside the organization, before we start, we'll look at the organization structure. Like say for example, when I go into a company, I ask the people, what is the exact structure of your organization? That is for me to understand how the organization runs, or how the business is run inside the organization, meaning which country they belong to, which is their head office, where are their branches, what do they work upon, whether they are in sales, whether they are marketing, whether they are into banking, etc., etc. So I need to understand, one is which sector they are in, and other is what is their internal structure, whether they are a location based organization, whether they are a matrix organization. So what exactly is their hierarchy? So this comes under the organization structures. You have something called as departments, you have something called as legislative groups. I will take you through one by one as and when we are creating them and also coming to the uh, pertaining flow. So what happens on the whole is like EBIS, where you had a business group, the same is here called as an enterprise. So it is a virtual organization inside inside your system, where we tell the system that yes, this is my organization and this is where I will do all my setups. So virtually I am telling the system and streamlining it. Okay, only whenever I am creating as Mira, I will create only inside this virtual organization. So the system, when I log in, will understand I am associated with this particular enterprise. So, and then there's something called as, I will take you through the legislative data groups and legal entities. I will tell you. Legal entities are something which are very important when it comes where the organization operates in multiple countries or multiple states where their rules are different. Like US, you have state rules and things like that. So every organization, every entity might be different and might be operating in different countries. So there are rules and regulations pertaining to that particular jurisdiction. So the legal entities are created to ensure that these are governed, or these organizations are governed by the existing rules. Like in UK, you have a different rule, UAE has a different rule, India has a different rule, US has a different rule. So what rule applies or what legislations apply and what governs these organizations is decided at the legal entity level. Then legal employers. Legal employers are entities that employ people. You can create n number of organizations, but they has to be classified as a legal employer. I will show you how that is done over a period of time. So, and you have something called as legal reporting units. So you report tax. You have lot of obligation, governmental obligation, social insurance, social security. Then you have taxes that needs to be reported to the government. So all this are done using these legal reporting units, tax reporting units. It is not that I go and report a tax at that particular unit, but yes, I do what you call classify them and ensure that they follow certain jurisdiction rules. Similar to EBIS or any other ERP, you have work structures. So where you have even in organizations, when we talk of structures, we don't talk of legal entities. We always talk of departments, divisions, units, and locations, etc., etc. So these are the work structures that you see here. These can be business units, divisions, whatever is the lower version of your organization level. Like I have a enterprise at the highest level, then I have maybe legal entity. The legal entity might have two business units, and each business unit might have a division and departments under them, so on and so forth. So these are the work structures that you see. If you have done EBIS, then you will know, you would have seen departments, divisions, etc., etc. So basically, this is all about the introductory phase and what exactly needs, how do you configure offerings, how do you manage your projects, what do you offer to the employees or what do you offer to the users. So there are two parts of the same coin. Like there are users and there are implementation users. So in any project that we do, there is something called as the business user who have an employee role, and there are users who do not have an employee role and they are the implementation users. Similarly, in Fusion 2, you have implementation users and business users. So when it comes to security, Fusion is very has defined its security in a very well-mannered phase. So you have something called as roles and privileges. Earlier you had in EBIS, if I refer, it is menus and responsibilities. So the same feature and the same feature will follow to an extent to what you call the roles and the roles and privileges. So in SAP, I'm not that very familiar, so I would not be able to compare it because it is EBIS, so I would be able to compare much. And the roles and the privileges concept has been taken from the PeopleSoft. There are certain roles which you require to start your projects, etc., etc., and you need to ensure there are implementation users, because at the beginning we don't have business users to start with. So when you start with your implementation project, that is right at the beginning of the project where you are given a pod and asked to start configuring, we don't have we have only implementation users and no business users. So at that time you need application for any user. In case we need to give them accesses, then we need to give application implementation manager. These are certain roles that are listed to initiate your configuration level, to configure your whatever requirements you've gathered from the clients. So what exactly is a role? So let me go back to the application, let it open. So what exactly, how do we actually get started with the projects? So I have something called as this is an implementation user for me. So I will just go to the login and ensure that I log into the system with the implementation user, or any user for that matter. First you need a login. So that is created using IT security manager. That is the role when, like say for example in EBIS we used to have something called as a sysadmin user. So similar that we have an admin user who creates just the roles and who creates the users, that is the implementation users, and the same the person is assigned to these roles which will help me perform certain activities. So whatever you see here, okay, so and this is all what you see, what I have as privileges. I can do benefits, I can do payroll, I can do contract management. So these are different privileges or roles that are assigned to me. I have a benefit role, so I will be able to do benefits administration. So I'm a line manager, so hence I have a my team icon here. Okay, I can do person management because I am an HR. So as of now in the training scenario we have all roles, but in the real-time scenario you might see only 10 icons here. So not all the icons will be visible for you. So what exactly do we tell the system? Okay, when Mira is logging in, Mira has certain roles and responsibilities. Mira only handles HR, so Mira will not handle payroll. So Mira will have only HR roles. When Mira handles, say if Mira is a benefit administrator for the company, so Mira will have only benefit administration roles and no other roles for Mira to perform smoothly inside the organization. So when we gather requirements, what we do exactly is we ask the client as to what are your users' responsibilities or roles, and then we define our roles internally in Fusion to ensure accesses are given in that particular manner. What exactly do we do in these roles? So I tell the system when Mira logs in, you ensure that she is given only benefits administration and nothing else should be seen by Mira. And also we have something called as data roles. Earlier you had menus, you had privileges, responsibilities in EBIS. So similarly here I have my responsibility which is known as, I have a role which will get attached to me, and there are two kinds of roles. One is a job role and one is a duty role. There are other roles also. I will come to that in a later stage. So the duty role gets attached to a job role and job role gets attached to an employee. So a duty role cannot be directly attached to the employees. Okay. Say for example, Mira has to perform benefits administration. Then Mira will be given a role which has a benefit duty. I'll open an Excel sheet for you. Okay. So what happens? This is Mira. Okay. This is the user. Okay. User is Mira. Okay. what do we require? What is the role that I require for Mira to do, or what job does Mira do is a benefit administrator. Okay, Mira manages all the benefits in the organization. So what role do I give Mira? I need to give a role which will enable Mira to do benefit administration. Okay, so this role will have a duty. I'm just citing an example. So this might be something called as benefit manager. Okay, so this is a Fusion role, Fusion duty. Okay, this is a Fusion job role. Okay, this is employee job. Okay, and this is the employee. Is this okay with you?
So basically what I understand here is, so Meera she's an employee, and
Yes.
She's also a benefit administration, and she's
Yes.
also a benefit manager. Okay.
No, this is Fusion. This is something related to Fusion only.
So it means this implementation.
Correct. So yes, this is from the implementation and the user perspective. I will show you how that works. Okay, so I'm just connecting to the roles. So seeing is believing. So I will ensure that I will take you through these so that whenever I assign a role, we will not have any issues. Okay, you see benefits manager, benefits specialist. See, if you see here, I can see something called as duty, right? So this duties will be assigned to a role of benefits manager. There's something called as job roles. There's something called as duty roles. Okay. So a duty role is
only, sorry. So this duty role is only specific to the implementation people.
Not really. No. Say for example, if I take a human resource role, okay, I will explain what exactly it is. Human resource specialist. Okay, so this is a job wherein I will show you what exactly it contains. Okay, so when this is a bunch of eligibility that you have, what exactly you can do inside the system. I can promote a worker here, I can manage a user account, I can do personal documentation, I can hire an employee, I can change workers' working hours. So what are that individual jobs that I can do? This job role is nothing but a collection of privileges that I have. Maybe I can, like in EBIS as well.
Hello, Mira. Can we say this role, they are like a menu?
Yes, I will, yes. So I will come to that comparison now. Okay, so what happens is a Fusion job role is responsibility for you. Okay, you had this HRMS super user responsibilities and things like that, and this is your menus, Fusion duty. So you never used to attach a menu to a user. You always had a responsibility to the user, right?
That is correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so this also functions in a similar manner. I will never attach a duty to the to the employee. I will always attach a duty to the role, and role gets attached to the employee. Okay, so now speaking of roles, I know what exactly I need access for. Like say for example, there is a person in the organization. See, normally what happens in HR is everybody had their own duties everybody had their own job to perform inside the organization. There is a recruitment team, there is a offer team, there is a team which does the onboarding, there is a team which takes care of the promotions or hire to retire cycle. Once the employee is hired, then there is a different team which takes care of the processes inside the organization. Say for example, when I am onboarding a person, so I will need the employee hire role, hire duty. Okay, but once I get onboarded, meaning Mira has joined the organization, then the person who is handling Mira's data need not have a hire role because Mira is already hired. So that way we define these roles which get attached to the employees. I can define custom roles here. meaning there are seeded roles already existing like human resource specialist, etc., etc. But benefits manager, everything. Oracle has given us entire seeded roles for each of these modules, meaning you take any module, accounting, financials, cash management, everything, or even when it comes to HCM, you have multiple various modules inside HCM as well, which are like OLA, you have learning management, you have like core HR, you have workforce deployment, development, everything is defined by the roles. So what exactly I need to give to the user is what the client will have to tell us. The client will tell me, say, Meera, you give Sandeep a different role and Samson a different role. So Samson will tell me, Meera, I'm only doing the onboarding of the employee. So Sandeep tells me I take care of the hire to retire cycle. So I need to judge accordingly as to what exactly are their day-to-day activities. So in case they have to access payroll, like say for example, Samson does the onboarding process. So he needs to enter the employee data, hire data. So, but he need not see what salary is being given to Meera. Meera is already joining the organization. Meera is joining the organization, so he does not have to see the salary data of Meera. Fine, we will not give salary data to Samson. We will give the same to Sandeep. Sandeep is in the team which handles promotions, which handles transfers, etc. Meaning the day-to-day activity as an employee and not as an applicant. Okay, so once that is done, so once I decide that this is what is the job that will be performed, or this is the exact day-to-day activity that is performed by each one of us, then I give them the role accordingly. So I can do the copying of the roles, and you can do you can remove the required privileges, add privileges, etc., etc. We can create custom roles as well here. While creating custom roles, we always copy the current existing seeded roles and then use these seeded roles so that we don't have to recreate. Like say for example, we used to have this, in case you had the US legislation, then you will have something called as US HRMS super manager and US HR super user in EBIS. So similarly, I have a human resource specialist here. So what I would do when I was designing the user responsibilities and menus, I would copy that menu, or I would have a standard menu there, and I will go and recreate them for each user based on their requirements or the job that they perform. So it is the same concept that is taken here, except that this is here, it is on the roles and responsibilities.